still in Nigeria, the federal government on Monday announced the imposition of new COVID-19 restrictions across the country, including advising on the shutting down of bars, event centers over the next 5 weeks. This new development follows the outbreak of the second wave of the coronavirus pandemic in various parts of the country. So nightclubs, bars, event centers recorded increased turnout in recent weeks as more Nigerians returned from overseas on the diaspora for the holiday period, the Yuletide. This also coincided with an increased rate, of course, of COVID-19 infections across the country. So how does this affect the leisure and consumer goods sector of spending as we edge closer to Christmas? Joining us to discuss further is Temi Peters, a research analyst at ARM Securities. Temi, good morning to you. Thank you for joining us. So over 40 countries have banned flights from the UK due to this new COVID strain. Nigeria yet to make any aviation announcements, but there are now restrictions, as I just said, on bars, restaurants, event centers. What's the impact on, I guess, consumer spending or purchases during this week as we edge closer to Christmas?
Good morning, Rotus. Thanks for having me as always. It's going to be a major blow for the industry. There's no two ways about it. This is their busy period. This is pretty much what they look forward to all year round. You know, it's when bars are full, clubs are full, everyone's coming home for Christmas, and they do majority of their sales. I mean, if you look at the breweries industry, for example, Q4 has always been their best performing, by far, best performing quarter. So this is going to be a major hit there. We have to see like exactly what restrictions will be in place. But even with the curfew, it was always just going to be a tough one for them. And then now, if they shut them down completely, I mean, a week to Christmas, 2 weeks to New Year's, it's going to take a major hit. I mean, in Q3 we saw some recovery in that sector, and we were pretty much hopeful for Q4 now. But then now we're going to have to reevaluate our numbers to see just where they go from here, and then how this affects them on a year-to-year numbers or quarter-on-quarter basis as well.
Thanks. So thank you for that. The organized private sector, they've warned against a second lockdown, and Governor Sanwo-Olu of Lagos has also said he's not in favor of a second lockdown. So we have these targeted restrictions. But I guess, as you just said, just to emphasize, there are going to be losers based on these targeted restrictions, yeah?
They are. There's, but there has to be. I mean, it's health and safety first. And a lot of people, it's been a tough year for them, you know, and that's why they're coming out now and saying, no, look, we have to make this restricted. It just can't be a full blanket lockdown because people still haven't recovered. You know, it's been since March and people are still just trying to find their feet. They were hoping this Christmas period could be a time to bounce back. And if it's a blanket restriction, some businesses, some clubs might not survive this. So, and then that has long-term effects for employment, for just general economy. So I think they're just wary of that and just trying to balance up like survival of the economy and then obviously health and safety as well. It's a tough balancing act, you know. I don't want to be in that position to make the call, but they're just trying to do right by just everyone there.
Indeed, indeed. All right, on a more, I guess, a more positive note, what are Nigerians buying this week as we get closer to Christmas, Temi?
I mean, from the hampers I've seen, I'm hoping after today you guys drop a hamper for me as well. Okay. And it's just the same old thing, you know, the snacks, the food, the beverages, and it's nothing. It's the same. I mean, it's good to see, you know, hampers are still in full flow this time of the year. No one is cheapening out on that, and so it's just pretty much what we've seen, you know, the food products and the beverages and all that.
Okay, are there, I guess, I mean, we'll have to keep this, my next question, in line with the restrictions, but are there any purchases that suggest small gatherings will still be taking place?
You see it in breweries, you know, there's been, speaking to my retailers, there's been, you know, as you expect for this time of the year with beverages, alcoholic beverages have picked up as you expect. But again, with new restrictions now, we'll see how that plays in. Would people buy more knowing that they're not going to go out as much, so they might as well just stay in and have, you know, their close friends and family in rather than going out, and, you know, for safety measures as well. So we could see maybe an uptick there in retail sales of that rather than like spending in public places like clubs and pubs.
All right, and if we look at other markets beyond the shores of Nigeria, are, you know, consumers eyeing the same gift items because they're facing almost the same situation that we are here?
There's been, I think it'd probably be something similar. There'll probably be a lot of electronics being bought around this time of the year because you know how people the working life has adapted, so people want to make the whole working from home situation more bearable. You know, there's things just to, I mean, this is pretty much a new situation, it's a new reality. and it's probably going to continue like that into next year for a lot of these countries. So people will be looking to make that living, working from home situation more bearable. So there'll be a lot of gadgets and electronics and things just in tune with that space. And also things, maybe board games as well. You know, PS5 is out as well. So we could see just things as well. Just you can't go out as well. So there's something to keep you entertained while you spend all this time at home.
And how price conscious are consumers in 2020?
It's tough to say. I mean, on the one hand, you know, there's been job cuts. People have lost jobs. People in jobs have seen salaries cut. So people will probably be more price conscious in that sense. On the other hand, there are people who, luckily, they've still had their jobs, haven't faced price cuts. And then they'll be able to save money this year by not going on holidays. And so they might be able to, you know, show some extra love this Christmas time to those who are having a hard time. So I guess it depends on what side of the scale you fall on.
All right, and can we say that as far as volumes, if we look at retail sales volumes this year, can we say that volumes of gift items will be down versus 2019, but the increase in price can make up for the difference? How do you see that playing out?
Yeah, I agree with you there. That seems like the logical outcome we will see in 2020. We've seen, not just in Nigeria, we've seen retail sales struggle all across the globe. But then price increase, well, obviously, you've seen inflation take up in Nigeria. So, yeah, I support you there. I agree with you there.
All right. Now, what are, I guess, if we're talking about price sensitivity and so on, what are retailers doing to attract eyeballs and then make those eyeballs open their respective purses and wallets in order to spend?
It's making it easier for consumers, you know, just making yourself more attractive, putting yourself out there, because you're losing that foot traffic into like physical stores. So it's spending more on, you know, social media attractions and just doing more in terms of making it easier for online purchases, so highlighting that aspect of your business so that consumers can easily just go online. They don't have to worry about coming into stores. They can expect quick deliveries. But I know especially, I think around Black Friday, we saw a lot of like retail companies just beef up staff around that time just to help with online orders and just in anticipation that, okay, nobody can come into stores, so how can we make this a success as it was in previous years, but also as safe as it can be. So I think we've seen upticks in online deliveries because that's the safest option. So I think retailers just have to build that capacity, and that's how they're going to have to survive this period we're in right now.
And I think you mentioned the electronics already, but which consumer goods do you expect to perform well over the period?
It'll be electronics, just around that gadget side.
Right, on the gadget side, yeah. All right, so look, I do want to have you look at this. Looking at these are overseas retailers, okay. Home Depot and Lowe's. I mean, stock prices for both these companies have performed well. What's behind it? A lot's been said about Home Depot and Lowe's.
I think there are a couple of things. I think firstly, people are spending way more time at home. And, you know, you always had these pet projects at home. Oh, I'm going to redo my balcony, I'm going to redo my loft, I'm going to redo my deck. And you just never get around to it. Work is too busy, you have to take the kids somewhere. But spending all this time at home, you can only bake so much bread. You know, eventually you come back to these projects you put off for years. And I think people are just using it to, obviously, kill time. And it just have a personal project of your own. And also, like I mentioned previously, some people have more people who are still in jobs, they have more disposable income because they're not going on holidays, they're not spending as much on outings and events, and they just have that money now and they're putting that into like their home improvements. And obviously these are the two biggest department stores when it comes to those sorts of improvements and DIYs.
Yeah, DIY, do it yourself. Okay, one back a minute ago, Temi, is the consumer goods story in 2020 a different one, I guess, depending on which region you look at on the globe?
I wouldn't say it's been too different. I mean, it's pretty much the same. I mean, we saw a lot of stores, I mean, stores have suffered, you know, no foot traffic. A lot of stores that relied solely on foot traffic have had a really rough time. We've seen them move towards that online space to try and keep that business alive. And I think that's how it is in every region of the world, you know. There are not too many places where you see people still experiencing as much foot traffic as they used to last year. So businesses are worldwide are just adapting to this new situation we're in, and I can see that just continuing.
Interesting stuff. Great conversation. Temi Peters, research analyst at ARM Securities. Thank you so much for taking us through the consumer sentiment as we get closer to the Christmas, well, we're almost there, Christmas holidays, during a pandemic and during these global lockdowns that we're looking at. Temi, thank you so much. We appreciate your insights.